So in this video, we're going to talk about volume, and that is a 5th grade standard. Before we jump into volume, let's talk about area. So area is the number of square units needed to fill the space inside a two-dimensional figure. And often the dimensions mentioned would be length and width. So those will be our two dimensions for now. So let's say I had a length of 1 unit and a width of 1 unit. This would be 1 square unit. So this is my two dimensions. I got my length and my width of 1 unit, and this is 1 square unit. All right, so if I wanted to find out how many of these square units would fit inside here, that'll tell me the area, because the area is the number of square units needed to fill this two-dimensional space. So if it's 4 units going this way and 2 units going this way, that means I'd be able to fit 8 of these guys in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 square units. So that would be the area of this rectangle right here. 8 square units, or you can also write it as 8 units squared. And it's a 2 because we have 2 dimensions. We have length and width. So it's just 2. 8 units to the 2nd power. Now, you might use area when you're finding, for example, the area of your garden, right? So let's say you have a little garden right here. You got your length and your width. You want to know how much space that is. Well, you got your width and your length. All right. And remember, area is how many square units would fit inside here. So if you knew that you had this many squares going this way and this way, you can count them all up. That'd be 72 squares. And so then you'd be able to find your area of your two-dimensional space, your garden. All right. Now, volume is similar but different. It's going to be 3 dimensions. The volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill the space inside a 3-dimensional figure. So it's like 3D. Okay. So the 3 dimensions we're going to use is length, width, and height. All right. We threw in a little bit of height. And so we got 3 units this time. We still got our length and our width, but now we got a height dimension added to it. Okay. So this would be 1 cubic unit. Sorry, I'm gonna let that move away for a second. It's 1 cubic unit, and it's either, remember, because it's in the shape of a cube. All right, 1 cubic unit. And so this figure right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubic units. All right, I added another layer, so that's another 8. So 16 cubic units, 24 cubic units. Now, notice how you can't see all the cubes. Like there's some behind here. Let's back up. You're not going to be able to see this anymore once you add the other ones. So you're going to have to come up with a strategy on how you're going to know how many cubic units this is right here. But we'll get to that in a different video. This is 24 cubic units, or in other words, 24 units to the 3rd power, because there's 3 dimensions this time: length, width, and height. You don't want to put units, or you don't want to put square units as area. This is cubic units because you're measuring with cubes. Now, let's say we have 1 cubic foot. This guy is 1 cubic foot, which means we have 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. We have a width of 1 foot, a length of 1 foot, and a height of 1 foot. This is 1 cubic foot. And so that's 1 foot to the 3rd power. Okay. But then if we had something smaller than 1 cubic foot, like 1 cubic inch, that means it's 1 inch going this way, which is much smaller than 1 foot, 1 inch going that way, and then 1 inch going that way. So it's 1 inch wide, 1 inch long, and 1 inch high. That would be 1 cubic inch. Notice how your cubic inch is much smaller than your cubic foot. All right. So this is 1 inch to the 3rd power because you have 3 dimensions: length, width, and height. Sweet. And so using volume would tell you how much space is inside a 3-dimensional object. Like, for example, this box. How many of these cubic inches would fit inside this box? Maybe you would need like 78 of them. If 78 of these cubic inches fit inside here, that means the volume of this box is 78 cubic inches. It's telling you how much space you have inside, how much of these would fit in here. Now, this might not be the right measurement. The cubic foot might not be the right measurement. That might be too big. So you might do the cubic inch. But something you would use cubic feet for probably is if you had a much larger space. Like, you ever seen these 18-wheeler trucks on the road before? They have a lot of space inside. And so you might measure the space in this with cubic feet. You might say, oh, it's, 10 feet tall and 20 feet long. So you might fit like 1,000 cubic feet inside. I don't know, just making stuff up. But that would be volume, the amount of space inside a three-dimensional object.